What's the best logic you have ever seen? It's not cheating if it's This is a direct quote. I knew a guy who genuinely used this to justify his cheating. If he was doing something that he didn't do with his girlfriend, then how is that cheating? I think I'd be even more upset that my boyfriend was sticking his ding dong a random person's poop hole and then having with me later. I saw one where a guy had metal teeth, like Jaws from James Bond. He ended up on some deserted island with a bunch of Amazon women who all loved him because his teeth could open canned goods. Each scene started out with some girl bringing him a can of something to open. At the end, he gets back to civilization and there's a woman trying to open a can and he's like, "Let me help you with that." Looks at the camera and smiles. Freeze frame. Roll credits. Whoever directed that was too good for Edit. Many people have asked for source, and justifiably so. I too would love to see this again. Here's what I know about it. The genre of the film was big breasts. We rented the movie in 1996, and I left Savannah for good in 1997, so the film has to have been made prior to that. The title referred to the Amazon, combining them into a single word, something along the lines of Bazumazan or Amazitas. They really missed a chance to mention Lake Titicaca. The box had no indication of the can opening plot, it simply showed the featured actresses in various poses wearing their jungle outfits against a generic tropical/jungle type of background. I don't know if this will help in the search, but the box was larger than a standard VHS box, maybe 25% or 30% larger, making it stand out among the other selections on the shelf, which was probably an intentional marketing tactic. We rented it at a locally owned video rental place that we primarily used because they had the best selection of PlayStation games in town. Pretty sure it was on a Burkhorn somewhere south of Duran, headed away from downtown, if geography of Savannah, Georgia means anything to you. By the way guys, if you are enjoying this video so far, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel. It will help us out quite a bit, and if you don't enjoy the videos in the future anymore, you can always unsubscribe. Let's get back to the video. Your fully grown adult stepsister will do literally anything, as long as you don't tell your parents that you walked in on her masturbating. She also gets stuck in washing machines a lot. To be fair, those things are very tricky to navigate. I remember when I was young we used to go around to all the second-hand stores and buy up all the cheap washing machines. You'd take them out into the woods near a hiking trail or a field full of colorful flowers and leave them overnight. Come back the next morning and you've caught a half-dozen stepsisters easily. The oblivious roommate who is playing video games while her roommate gets railed. To be honest, if my roommates were doing that I would just ignore them. Just put my headphones on, probably give a small comment of "dude there's other people," then keep playing. Begin yelling unattractive things at your online friends. Rush B you idiot bro, you're going to run out of ammo if you blow your load too soon. Are you cough coming here yet? The one with, if I remember correctly, Lisa and where a guy's in a tub, taking a bath, and she enters the bathroom as a lifeguard. It's hilarious. Edit. Wow, who would ever think that my knowledge of a movie would mean 14k updates? Thanks to everyone, you wholesome fans. This isn't a beach, this is a bathtub. And you can tell the guy is a somewhat okay actor because he genuinely seems confused as hell. I love how he's like, pretty sure that something about this situation isn't adding up, but he can't quite put his finger on what it is. I wish I knew what it was. So this barely legal 27-year-old is in the shower. Older dude walks in and she asks him what he's doing in her bathroom. Dude says he's a poker buddy of her dad's and he needs to take a She reluctantly says, okay, and he takes off his pants and underwear and sits down on the toilet. He gets up, walks over to the shower door and starts just while making the stupidest faces. She freaks out and asks him again what he's doing. He responds that her father told him to make himself at home and ask his daughter if he needs anything. He needs a blowjob. She says something like, well, if my dad said to take care of you, guess I should take care of you. 15 minutes go by and they everywhere in the bathroom. Dude says he's getting close. Pulls out and starts to finish on her, but what starts out as a moan ends up in the loudest, guttural battle cry I've ever heard. It was the funniest I've ever seen, but can't find it for the life of me. Mans went from that feels so good to Skyrim belongs to the Nords. This was the only time I have ever gone to a theater. The movie starts. A man has a broken down motorcycle on the side of the road. A woman pulls up. She says, "What's the problem?" He says, "There's something wrong with my spark plug." She says, "There's nothing wrong with your spark plug." And then they have a motorcycle. But there clearly was something wrong with his spark plug, since his motorcycle wasn't working. I started laughing hysterically. A man in the back row huffed loudly and left. I guess I ruined his immersion in the plot. I still sometimes say to my husband during "There's nothing wrong with your spark plug," and then we giggle. It'll never get old. Some woman was acting like she was baking cookies. She just mashed flour and water together under a rolling pin before taking store-bought cookies out of the oven. Worst part is that once the actual started, she threw the flour all over her vagina. It killed my mood to see such carelessness and a blatant disregard for the art of baking. Not gonna lie, I want to start my own studio just for nude baking videos. I told my coworker, and he said he wants to see topless women cooking bacon. I don't think I have the heart to ask a woman to scold herself for art. As a woman who got a second-degree burn on her boiling water during a cooking, not while nude, accident, I can say it sucks. Leaving doors unlocked while showering or masturbating. I don't understand this. Personally, I live with my parents, and the way I secure myself before doing anything of the kind is such that even if a world emergency was declared and SEAL Team 6 was to converge on my room, the time it would take them to break through would be enough for me to make my room look like the inside of a church. Even if a world emergency was declared and SEAL Team 6 was to converge on my room, the time it would take them to break through would be enough for me to make my room look like the inside of a church. Not even Oscar-winning films have such exquisite narration. Thanks man, you truly made my day. So a guy and a girl have been chatting on MySpace. This was a while ago. The girl calls him to say that she has a free house and that he should come over. The dude arrives, but he doesn't recognize the girl. She gets down on the bed and looks up at him, but he still doesn't recognize her. The dude finally realizes that it is the same girl from the photo when he climbs a ladder and looks down at her sitting on the bed. It turns out that all of the pictures he had seen of her were taken in the duck face style, so he only knows what she looks like looking up at the camera. She then starts sucking the guy off while he is sitting on the ladder, and the action carries on from there. Two girls were kissing, and then their respective dads found out. They then decide to swap their daughter and have to make them heterosexual again. Complete stupidity. But it made me laugh, so good point. I've seen one where two girls graduated and their fathers swapped their daughters just to teach them about before college. I mean, that's really gross and shows how sick some people are that they can get off to corrective therapy. It's really not funny. Hello, have you ever seen genres? Torture, implied are all very popular. Of course none of it would actually be funny, but people do watch that they would never act out in real life. It's fake, just FYI. Found this old VHS years ago. Watching it, and these two girls are walking down a trail in the hills, probably California. They come across this dude in a breechcloth and full Native American headdress. Native dude, when girls, aren't you supposed to say how native dude, me know how, me want to know when? That's old. Yeah man, had a real 70s vibe. Back before they had to compete with those amateurs, and they could invest in little extras like story, production value, feelings. People forget that the brain is the biggest erogenous zone. This was ages ago. We were watching the Blair Witch Project, but it was actually a lesbian parody that we were far too young to be watching. I remember we tuned in just as the line "Oh my god, the scary ghosts are back, we have to get naked and have" and paraphrasing, but that was basically it. That me. Was there a gorilla suit involved in this movie? I don't remember, but we stopped watching it pretty quick because we were preteen girls and it was super age inappropriate. Someone above posted the name of it though. Fair enough. There is another very similar parody around. Our friend group bought it as a gag gift for one of the group. Then proceeded to watch it, laughed, and the friend that got it abruptly left at the end. I guess we were age appropriate, high school, but we should bought that dude socks or something else for his birthday. There was one where a girl had her family over and the boyfriend was making a pizza the big sausage way. When he comes over with the pizza, his sausage is sticking out the front of the pizza, making the grandfather have a heart attack, and the family leaves to take the grandfather to the hospital. Once the family the girl, well, that is one sausage I don't want to go to waste, and then she starts blowing him as her grandfather is dying from a heart attack on the way to the hospital. Mine will always be where it's a bunch of straight dudes sitting in a room bored and playing video games / watching a game or whatever. And they are so bored they just decide to all start each other. I mean, I've been in this exact situation in rooms filled with completely out of the closet gay men, and we never got so bored we just decided to gangbang out of nowhere. So I have a hard time believing any straight men are doing that. Either that, or I need to find more interesting friends. There is a Japanese about a husband gets trapped in a time loop. A regular day, he goes to work, but then he realizes he has left something at home. He goes back and sees his wife cheating on him with another man. They are obviously doing that. The husband dies. But he wakes up on the same day. He goes to work again and decides to go home earlier this time. Somewhere there the wife is doing with another man. The husband dies again. He wakes up the same day. Now he decides not to work. His wife still manages to do it with another man. Dies and wakes up. I think once he tries to do it with his wife, but still dies. Basically he tries to break the loop and not have his wife cheated on him. Very complicated. Can't remember what happens in the end. For reasons that would take too long to explain, I was once helping out on a fork shoot. IDK. But intended to be the background to another film. 2 girls and a guy on a motorbike. No, it was not running. The girls are making out, and the guy is behind one of them. The whole thing was sort of hilarious. The guy freaked out early on, and drank a heap of vodka, and then couldn't stay hard, so one girl was being the fluffer, and it got so absurd we all wanted to die. Eventually they start this appalling, and yet hilarious screaming and driving on the bike, and the director couldn't bring himself to direct them. The girl furthest from the guy suddenly shrieks and throws her head back, and hollers, "I can't believe it," goes straight through. I mean, it worked, given the context. But the hysterical laughter from the rest of the crew must have been hard to scrub. I shall not today attempt further to define the kinds of material I understand to be embraced within that shorthand description. Hardcore. Perhaps I could never succeed in intelligibly doing so. But I know it when I see it, and the motion picture involved in this case is not that. United States Supreme Court Justice Potter Stewart and Jacobellis v. Ohio. The Supreme Court has defined as anything that elicits thought, but has no artistic merit. That kinda sounds like every commercial on TV, doesn't it? I delivered pizza as a kid, and there was a lady who I delivered to once who opened the door wearing like a silk nightie thing, and said to me in a cliche whispery voice that she didn't have any money. So naturally I said, "Welp, then no pizza," and left. I delivered a pizza once to what could best be described as a truck driver lesbian, crew cut mullet with tucked in plaid shirt with Confederate belt buckle and work boots kind of outfit. Straight up asked me if I wanted to come in and fight in front of her easily 500 pounds roommate who was already going to town on the pizza. My mind just went blank, and I said something like, "Oh, thanks for the offer, but I'm a little tired right now, maybe next time." She looked me up and down, then handed me an envelope with $50 in tip money and a check for the pizza. spanked her and noped the to there. Later on, our Ukrainian immigrant driver took an order to the same place. I guess she tried the same pitch because he freaked out and they got into a screaming contest and the cops were called. Lol. I never understand the pizza boy logic one. Okay, so the woman doesn't have money, so she offers to pay for the food plus tip. Why would the pizza boy take it? He needs to at least pay for the pizza he didn't get money for out of his own pockets, so essentially he was just paying for. I understand not having money for the tip and him taking up that offer. But how will you explain to your boss you're like $20 short and you gave them the pizza anyways? Yeah, he's paying for but only the price of a pizza, which is a fraction of the price an escort would cost. So he'd get to have with a hot girl for basically free. I can totally see someone accepting that. He could just take the money from his own wallet and his boss would never know. The woman offering is much more unbelievable, I'd say. Or he could just tell his boss what happened because that's epic. His 24-year-old general manager who loves smoking weed all day with his delivery driver girlfriend isn't going to care about the guy banging a customer. Hell, if it was anywhere I have ever worked in food, we chip in on his tab. There's a scene on The Hub that should get an Academy Award. Brandy Love, a sweet gal who is into those kinda movies, stars in it as a wife who is in a rough situation, as a random friend of her husband saw her acting in the way a married lady shouldn't behave. She was enjoying the company of a gentleman who was not her husband, let's say. So the friend that has the pics blackmails her into similar naughtiness. After things wind down, he says, "I guess I won't show your husband those pictures now." She says, "I don't care, idiot. We are swingers. I usually send him videos myself." It was great logic because she took advantage of the guy and made him feel like a dumbass. That'll teach him. Let me tell you from a very personal experience. I'm a author. I have a story on CHYOA, a website for choose your own adventure erotica, where users can submit their own suggestions. Today, I processed a submitted chapter to my story where the MC, who is a woman, had magically grown several and was testing what ingesting the each of them would cause. The from the first tasted like fried eggs and stir-fried chicken. The from the second also tasted like fried eggs and stir-fried chicken. From this, the MC extrapolated that the from her second always tastes like the last thing she ate. Do you ever just deny requests because they're so disgusting/weird? Most authors I know, who also use choose your own adventure sites, sure do throw out a lot of chapters, usually associated with specific kinks or fetishes, because people just pull out all the stops and either write well or just write such explicit, vivid detail about something they're so uninterested in having in their story that they just can't accept the submitted chapter. People are more willing to write their own people think. Problem is, they often try to hijack others' work to do so, rather than just make their own distinct entity. Saw this in hentai, of course. Deeper is always better. Starts the so deep into the woman that it travels through the cervix and into the uterus. Not only do the girls accept this, they feel even more attracted and actively try to make this happen. Once he's deep in her uterus, it's complete bliss and the thrusting grows faster and faster, and then everything's awesome. I'll grant I'm no expert, being a human male, but from what I've heard, such a night seems more likely to have the girl doubled over in pain, while the guy stares awkwardly. Unless some enjoy that, yeah, I've heard that it is cripplingly painful. So don't, for your sake and for hers. Also, certainly don't feel like you're not long enough, because it is physically impossible to do that. The average human is around 5 inches long, and if you know what you're doing you can make lengths shorter than that work. Really, the best part about the experience isn't the sensation, but more the feeling. TL, Doctor, hentai should never be used as a guide on how to have TBH. If you have legitimate questions about female anatomy / want to find myths about it debunked, check out r/bad women's anatomy. It is a riot, even as a CI's male. You see the a lot too. Best case, someone misunderstood what happened when they reach the posterior fornix cul-de-sac, which gives a feeling of a second penetration. But I think most of these people have never come close to doing that, if they've had at all, and picked up the idea from the first group. Super old. Two guys dress up like women to sneak onto a women's cruise ship. All the women are sleeping on hammocks for some reason, you know, not in a cabin like a normal cruise. They basically start assaulting these women in their sleep with oral. One woman wakes up, sees this and says, "Hey girl, over here, come lick my." Not "oh my god, there are a couple of on the ship," or you know, help. The 80s were a mess. Lol. Captain Stabbin. Way back in 1996 or so, I got a hold of enough money to buy a VHS. There was no way to see net at that time, except low-res pictures that took forever to download. I was 21, just old enough to go into the local store and buy something. Before going, I spent forever searching around the internet for movie reviews. I knew I could only buy one, so it had to be good. Short version is, stores don't have a great selection and all my research time was wasted. I ended up buying one whose name I can't exactly recall. Dirty Money, maybe. Something like that. I just remember it had Kelly O'Dell and TT Boy in it. The point is, this movie was disguised as a tutorial on writing film scripts and selling them to the company that produced the video in real life. Therefore, the biggest logic I've ever seen is that you can just write a script and sell it to a company. This does not happen. No one pays for scripts. I don't remember the scenes real well, but I remember is the guy who told you what to do. He was sitting behind a typewriter giving out the most hilarious advice. I have a very clear memory of me and my then girlfriend fast forwarding through the scenes to get to the guy talking about how to write scripts because he was hilarious. I feel like if someone could upload just those parts, which were SFW except for language, to YouTube, it could become as big as lemon stealing. I've thought about attempting to find a digital copy of it and do just that, but one doesn't seem to exist. Okay, this is going to get lost, but I've seen plenty of ridiculous. Here are a few of my favorites. A small Asian woman was trying to masturbate outside on a lawn chair, but was having trouble. Then a out of the sky and she picked it up and started cheering. She went inside to try to use it, but couldn't fit it into her vagina, so this huge buff dude comes out of nowhere and just starts the out of her while she was trying to crawl away. My personal favorite was a teacher trying to masturbate on top of her desk, but was also having trouble. Then the door starts being chopped down, and a fireman sticks his head in and yells, "I heard there was a fire," and she started blowing him. I was laughing so hard I couldn't even think about masturbating. My most recent one was really weird. A woman is standing over a 4-foot tall trying to squat on it. It is then that I notice is standing on top of a platter of lettuce. The woman then stops and begins pulling baby carrots out of her vagina. She then lies down on the ground and tries to shove this massive in her vagina, but is unsuccessful, so she pours ranch all over herself. This is the end of the video. Thank you guys for staying with me till the end. If you enjoyed watching this, you might as well watch these too.